Hello everyone, my name is Shonda and welcome to my channel Under the Needle. This video is going to be quick and dirty because this is take two. I filmed this video last week and there were technical difficulties and I could not publish it, so it took a while before I could redo the video. So what we're going to be doing today is this is our deco stitch along or quilt along update. We are doing this block today. So this would be, I forgot which week this is. This would be week 4. So this is week 4, even though technically we're in week 5. This is the week 4 update, and we had to make 10 of these blocks. So this is the first one. I kind of wanted to do a sample block, make sure that everything was going to be okay, and it was. I wanted to know how I needed to press my seams. Because the pattern designer recommends that we press all seams open. I did not do that. I pressed some of the seams open and some of the seams to the side, and I will talk you through that as we go through. So I'm going to go ahead and get the camera set up for sewing so you guys can see what I'm doing, and then I will I'll be right back. Alright, so I'm going to try to show you guys this as best as I can. Again, I don't really have the best setup for you guys to see me sew. So I did some pre-sewing. The first thing that I did was I went ahead and snowballed the 2 corners. So there's 2 corners that have to be snowballed, and I went ahead and did that because I struggle with snowballing corners. I have diagonal seam tape and all kinds of other stuff, but I'm not the most accurate sewer. So for this particular project, I did go ahead and I did draw the lines on my squares before I attached them. You can see here, I don't know if you can kind of, you probably can't see, but there's like some red pen where I used my friction pen to draw the lines. And then I do want to go ahead and press the seams open. These 2 seams I did sew open. I do want to press open. So I've already, I'm going to go ahead and press the seams again. I just kind of finger press these. I did not press them with an iron. That's why you can still see the mark from the friction pen. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. Another thing that I did already was there's a strip set. There's a couple of strip sets that we have to make. Some identical strip sets. 2 identical strip sets. Well, depending on what size you're making. So the strip set that we had to make was this right here. So I went ahead and made the strip set already and cut the subunits that I needed. I did press these seams open. I find that I get better results if I press my seams open on strip sets. So I will if I can, because I don't know why, but to me I just get better results when I press them open. So I did do that for the strip sets, and then I subcut those units that I need to put the block together, and those are these units here. Now what I did was I went ahead and I sewed my 3 strips together. I pressed them to one side first, and I have to be really careful with the pressing. So when I'm pressing, I literally I fold it back first, and then I just kind of lay my iron on top, and I just kind of go down and press it all to one side, and then I flip it over. And then I go in and then I press it open. And then once I had both seams pressed open, I sprayed a little best press and pressed again. And then I flipped it over, sprayed a little more best press and pressed it again. Just so that my fabric would have some body. It's been a couple of weeks now because I did the strip set a couple of weeks ago. So it's not quite as crisp as it was when it was first pressed. I didn't want to over best press it because I still want my fabric to have some degree of flexibility so that I have the ability to get it to move the way I want it to move, so that my points can line up. So we start with this here, with our piece here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to sew a strip to the top and bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and then get it pressed. And you probably cannot see, but my units are not perfect. See, you can't really, I can't even really show it properly, but my units aren't completely aligned here, but it's going to be okay. At least I hope, right? Forgive my sniffling. I didn't even realize I was sniffling like that until I got on camera, and I'm like, why am I sniffling? All right, so I'm going to press these. I did not press these particular seams open. I just pressed them to one side because I looked at how the blocks came together, and I just thought that it would be okay to do it that way. All right, so we have this unit here. Now, I did try to be careful and make sure, because if you notice, my print is directional, right? So I want them to all be the same. Now, if you don't have a directional print, that is okay. It makes it easier for you because it doesn't really matter. But I have to make sure that I don't end up doing mine like this, because I want them all to be the same in the quilt. So I'm going to go ahead and put my two sides on. So we're going to put a piece here and a piece here. Now, I did use some pins because I cared about how this came together. And because some of my seams are pressed open, they're not going to nest. So I need pins to kind of make sure that everything is lined up. I don't think you can see my pinning, so my apologies for that. Now, another thing you can do is you can press everything open, or you can press everything to one side. That's also an option. And like I said, my units are not perfect. You can see I'm not perfect, but it's less than 1/8 of an inch. So I'm just going to cross my fingers and hope it all comes out in the wash. Let's see if I can show a little better what's going on here on the sewing bed. Not really. I don't know. I don't know if that's any better. Okay, it's a bit of a glare, but I think that's a little better. So I use these clover pins, these clover flower head pins, the super thin ones, because I find that they're thin enough that if I sew over it, it's not a big deal. So I like those. I like them a lot. Okay. Yeah, I don't even know how to turn my light off to get rid of the glare. It's not the best. I'm sure you guys will tell me in the comments. Okay, so here we are, and we're not exactly aligned up. I got to figure out if I want to redo this or not. And I think I'm just going to let it go. You can see I'm off here, but it's less than an eighth of an inch, and I'm just not that picky of a sewer to resew that seam. I know a lot of people would. I'm just going to be a bit more careful when I pin on the other side to try to really get that right. So I'm just really going to try to butt those background colors up there. You guys really can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just really trying to get it lined up. And then I'm going to pin and just cross my fingers. I watch Donna Jordan a lot, and she made a comment on one of her videos, and she wasn't using pins, and she said, you know, she said we call this the hope and sew method. So like you just kind of cross your fingers and hope, and then you sew, and then you just hope it comes out like you want it to. I am using pins, but it still feels a little hope and sew to me. Just want to make sure we're all good here. Okay, so those pieces are on. So I'm going to go ahead and iron those and look at those joins and see how we did the second time around. Okay, so this is how we are here. And I did a little bit better the second time around here and here. But I'm still a little off, and I just don't care enough, you know. I just don't care enough to fix it. I'm not that much of a perfectionist. I try, but if I am unsuccessful, then that's okay. Still just looking at the reference block here, just making sure that we're going the right way, and we are. So then we just attach the next strip to the top and the bottom. And then we press that. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I mean, fabric stretches for a reason, so I do not have an issue with, you know, stretching my fabric to make it meet up and fit. That's not an issue for me. I don't have a problem with it. That's what it's for. Like that's the only great thing about fabric being stretchy is that you can make it fit where it didn't. So especially when you know you're measuring a piece that is, when you're adding a piece that's pre-measured, right? You know that this piece that you're adding was cut to be a specific length, and you know that the unit that you're adding it to is supposed to be that length as well. And so if it's not, you know, stretch it a little bit. And I don't know how far off I am, because you can see here that this piece is off. It sticks out a little bit. And what I don't know which piece is off. So I'm going to grab a ruler real quick. Let's see. And this is something that I do while I'm sewing. If I'm, you know, doing something and I don't know what's wrong, because, you know, I haven't properly lined up my pieces, then I will, you know, go ahead and grab my ruler and measure, because I know what this block size is supposed to be, right? Because we just added a strip to it. So I know what size this is supposed to be. So I'm just going to give it a measure. And see where I'm at here. Okay, so based upon this, what I know is that this gray strip is correct. That's my correct width. So my pink pieces are a little short. I don't know how well you can see that here, but there you can see how the gray sticks out beyond the pink. So that's where I need my strip to line up at. I need my strip to line up where this gray ends, not where this pink is. And since it's less than 1/4 of an inch, it's less than 1/8 of an inch, then I will be okay. So I'm going to flip this over so that I can see that everything is lined up well. And I've got the new strip that I'm adding is lining up with the old strip and not this pink piece. And that'll help to keep my block square, even though I am making all kinds of mistakes. There. So now we're fixed, right? So I'm going to go ahead and press this, and then we'll add the last strip. I mean, when you're doing, when you're making blocks that are a bit more precision, where you have to be a bit more careful and seam allowance is so important, then keep a ruler. Keep a ruler at your workstation so that you can measure as you go and make sure that you're lining stuff up properly. And so now I'm putting this piece on, and I'm gonna cross my fingers and hope that everything, and it's perfect. It's lining up on both sides. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's lining up well on both sides. I'm loving it. And so I'm going to add this piece. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the piece to the other side. And then we'll be done with this block. So this was we only had to make 10 blocks in this week, 10 of these blocks. So this was a pretty easy sew. Next week's, or technically this week's assignment is a bit more because we have a lot more blocks that we have to make. So it's going to take a bit longer. All right, so I'm going to press this open. I do not always set my seams. And there's a reason behind that. I personally tend to get better results if I don't. Right? I have several theories, but I won't go into them now. So this is our block. This is our finished block. I love the way this block looks. I love the way it looks next to last week's block. So I love how the colors are bringing, you know, are matching and melding. I like how the pinks in here kind of help to pull out some of the subtle pinks in here. And I love how the golds are going well together and the burgundies. I'm loving how these blocks look. I cannot wait to finish the blocks for this week and get that video made as well. But so far I am enjoying this sew along a lot more than I thought that I would. I'm enjoying the construction of this quilt very much. And yeah, that's that's pretty much it for me for this video. I do apologize for the delay. Like I said, I had filmed this and had technical difficulties. I'm gonna cross my fingers that this one comes out okay and that I won't have to do a take 3. But that is it for me for today, and I will see you next video.